Okay, so here we are at 323 Refugio, and start with the door. There is a huge gap there at this doorway, as well as that doorway down there, and then the master doorway. That one I can stick my hands clear under. There, like literally, my fingers can go all the way through. So, right there. So those are marked. Back into the living room, I have marked several areas on the floor that need to be secured or have little splinter areas. I also advise, just, you know, as someone who's living here, they would definitely want these holes filled, just because dirt will, of course, you know, fill in, and it would be really hard to keep these floors clean just because of all the crevices. While they look cool, at the same time, just on functionality, it would be super annoying because, you know, you'll technically never be able to get them, you know, clean, because dirt and stuff, especially at these entryways and high traffic areas, will just constantly accumulate in those little crevices. Here I have this nail that's kind of sticking out. Just kind of, you know, tuck it in or cut it out, and then re-secure that area if need be. Clean up the caulk lines. If that doesn't bother y'all, then, you know, no big deal, but I did mark that. Clean up the caulk on the window here. Okay. Secure this electric face. Secure that one over there. Like we talked about, paint these two little lips white. This area here, I don't know, it's kind of humped out, but I'm not sure what's going on there. It does need to be painted, so that's why it's marked, just because of the discoloration there. Versus, you know, here's a panel that's not, you know, discolored like that. So there's marked because of that, but there's also that hump, which I would just be curious as to why. Again, all the marks for that. In here, there's a few places. This needs to be secured. This little lip is just, it's flimsy. It's not totally secured to there. This is just paint lines needing to be touched up. More up there. And then, I mean, there's quite a bit actually, just like paint lines that could be touched up. This needs like a second coat of paint. You can see there's only one. Same with the outside. It needs another second coat of paint. Here, I'm not really sure why this was installed here. It shouldn't be, but it does need to be secured. If you can see like this, it's just too flimsy. I'm assuming they were trying to cover up those lines, but that really isn't something you need to cover. You could just caulk that area, but nonetheless, they have installed those there, so they all need to be secured. Some are pretty bad and some are okay. This needs to be caulked here. This needs to just be cleaned up right here. That's just needs to be goof off. Here, just line of caulk. Paint that little lip down there. It's not painted. They do make corner, you know, L pieces that could go here. I'm not sure why they didn't use that, but that would have been a good idea here. Which could also go there. There's another piece that needs to be secured. This is just needs to be caulked, like a caulk bead running along there. This entire sink on the upper lip needs to be caulked. They did it on some, but not on all of them. So you need silicone caulk. This just keeps bacteria out. Over here, I would just silicone this. This shouldn't be exposed like this. Like this runs all the way down, and food and stuff is going to get back in there, and it's also going to be something that's going to be annoying to the tenant, or, you know, anyone that occupies this property. And it also starts to stink once, like, you know, an excess of buildup begins to form back there. So caulk it or something. I've never seen such a big gap. And then you can see it goes back into the tile work. So yeah, that needs to be taken care of. Clean up this line here. Up here they have this piece running this way, and then they have it swapped up there. So it's odd just because they ran it going this way and then they turned it going the other way up at the top piece. So I mean, if it's not easy to swap and make it go, you know, seamless, then I guess just leave it, but otherwise that would be something that would be installed incorrectly. The whole ceiling needs to be, you know, painted. I did mark that up there, but it looks like there was just some overspray or just like a last minute touch up in this area with the spray, the texture, so this needs to be of course painted. Here's just a lot of repainting or touching up the lines of caulk and the lines of paint. It does look like some of the doors were sawed off at the top, so I would say maybe sanding some of these edges, but that's not, you know, super necessary. But caulking, repainting, or second coat of paint all down here. There are some little divots, but it's just up to you guys what matters and what doesn't. This right here, on the other side, like that's when they use these little joint pieces like this here, but this side didn't get anything. That looks like it's caulked over there, but this side is exposed, so I would say something there, or run a caulk line there, whatever's best. This one right here is totally coming out. This needs to be secured. And then there's no caulk here, so this would just need to be caulked. I don't know if I already said that, but just in case I didn't. Oh yeah, down here, I would put like a little piece of trim, like a board that ran across that, just because it is, let me see if you see, exposed. And I would say just like to clean it up, put a small 1x1 across the bottom of this, kind of framing it out. So there's silicone on this one, so this is good. Just cleaning up these lines, cleaning up the paint, cleaning up those lines right there. Okay, and we're going to this front bathroom. So I think that these should be turned around here, that the knob should be both inward, so you're not opening it like this. It should be opened this way, which would just mean flopping it around, flopping the whole piece around. And the good thing is they did secure the bottoms, so that needs to be done, but of course it could be done once you flop this piece, just this one. And this one of course needs to be secured too, but it's good this way. Clean up these caulk lines here. Clean up the caulk line or the paint line. Something needs to be here, like caulk or a trim piece all the way down. Caulk the bottom. Anything around wet, you know, you want to have it extra caulked, because if water were to seep under there, it would be bad. All these should be silicone caulked here at any faucet, I guess, insulation to the wall, just to secure that and make sure no penetration of water is in. I don't think there was anything right here. Up here, this is where the door could be sanded down. If you see, it's pretty rough up there. Again, I think the tops were cut down to size. This is just right here, it needs to be caulked underneath that lighting. That's just some areas if you want to clean it up. It just, to me, would bother me, but again, this is all whatever, you know, you guys are willing to accept or not. Down at the toilet, I would have another caulk bead put on that. And then here, re-caulk this because it's not very well done. And then see how it looks afterwards. Clean up the lines like we talked about up there too. Back here, that needs to be caulked. If you see where it didn't go all the way flush against the wall. So fill that with caulk. Okay, there's a little hole right there. It can be filled. Another little hole right there. It can be filled. Okay, that's that one. Right here, just a pencil line, repaint, touch it up. There's some the bottom corner should be re-secured right here. It's hard to see, but it does move. So I put that one there. Clean up the paint splatter marks. More paint splatter marks, or where they take paint splatter marks here. Just little blemishes in the wall. Not many, but there are some. This one here. Several areas of just paint. Secure those guys. This one's unlevel. So if they wanted to level it out, that would be great. Again, with the sanding of the door, I'm not sure if you can see, but it's definitely a little bit coarse at the top. Clean up these lines. I'm asked to clean this up, since that looks a little rough there. Some places where there's still tape from their masking tape along the trim where they painted. That's it for in here. Clean up the paint lines. That needs to be painted up there, so the ends, they just weren't given a second coat. That was pretty consistent with all of these. That's why these are all marked. Just they need to be given a second coat on all the upper trim. Some of them weren't caulked, some were. So caulking and repainting. Leave that little area there. This one's already cracking. Painting. Cracking. More caulking. More caulking. I marked these because I would want these cleaned up. Just fill them in, whatever they have to do. But again, there needs to be some sort of a guard pushed here to keep out the air. And here, up there, cracked, like we talked about here. There's also silicone to right here and down, but nothing from here up. I'm not sure if that was on purpose or not, but if they're wanting to protect the entire area, then silicone would need to be placed all through there. And then this backside is not siliconed. I doubt the water would reach back here, but that's not siliconed like the rest of them. This all needs a second coat. Here, all the way down, it's pretty messy on this little piece of trim. And kind of messy in the front end too, like just, I would say maybe run line a caulk, do something to kind of clean, especially right here, that area up. There's a little bit of paint there, and then some wall blemishes here just with the mud or the spray. There's a little ding there. This down here needs to be caulked all down along the bottom towel work. All along there. And definitely cleaned up the lines, you know, along the edges there. There. I would see what can be done here, but what they should have done was keep the trim going and then install the threshold. But it's already done, so I'm not sure, like otherwise it looks like this. This one's not as bad as the other one, but it is noticeable. Some caulk here would be great. And then clean up those lines. Silicone at all of those. It looks like there's silicone actually on those. But if not, that's, yeah, I see a little bit. It's shiny in some of those areas, but all of the hardware, shower head, blah, 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 needs to be caulked. is it in here? Let me turn the lights off. Out here, I did mark a few things. There's several areas like this. This is a nail, 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 nail there, like that, where the tips are coming through. There's a big one down there. So, I don't know, maybe just hammer this back in. I would hate for a little kid to hit their head on this going down the stairway, and it's not very friendly. If they were to, like, you know, run into the rail, which could or could not happen. There are that, this thing is not installed correctly, so the little weather stripping needs to be corrected. And then there's this, I don't know if they reversed the door or not, but this would probably need to be filled unless they're trying to leave it open just in case they decide to reverse the door back. But otherwise, that definitely should be filled since the actual jamb is on this side. So it's also kind of odd that this is here. I just noticed this actually. This trim piece is here on this side, but then there's nothing on this side, which would be the exact same. So they put one on this side, and then there's not one over here. See what I mean? It's within the same, you know, vicinity, so you would want that to be consistent. So I'll put a piece of tape over there just for that, but that trim piece is missing if that was supposed to be, you know, trimmed out of that. I would assume that that should be on all sides then. That would mean that side. I did mark it because it needs to be caulked, but if you put a piece of trim, then that goes, you know, away, of course. Oh, I forgot one more thing. In here, I think a small piece of border should be right there, just like, you know, the base board over here, to fill that little hole. So it would just be this ½ an inch probably, but it needs to be consistent with the trim on this side. Okay. And then the front room, more markings on the floor. Several pieces where the taping, the masking tape needs to be cleaned up. Same thing with the second coat of paint on these edges. Caulking up there. Caulking there. And then this little door thing is not really doing anything because the barn door sits up high, so that's just kind of sitting there. So that's not of use right here. There's a little chip on the end of the door there that can be filled. And here, same thing right there. There's a wide gap on the end here. Clean up the caulk lines. There's no silicone here on the lip of the sink. So silicone caulk all the way, again, just for bacteria purposes. And then this stuff, I really think that they should have maybe used a little different material, but this stuff needs to be secured a little bit better. Same thing that was in the other room, but also second coats of paint where needed up there. There's like kind of a bulge there, but I'm not sure why or if that can be made flush. But as you can see there, it definitely needs a second coat of paint up in the top areas. And there's that little gash there. There's these gashes here. If they're just secured, it's better. May not be able to be much more secured. There's also that gap there. They need to caulk it or put a piece of trim. Paint this area right here. And then there's a lot of little white spills, like paint spills, I think, but that's really up to you guys. There's that little blemish there. And up there in the corner, there's just a paint blemish that could be corrected. When you come inside the shower, again, all these need to be siliconed here on all openings. And then there's these holes on the back of this cabinet that should be filled. Silicone here. There's this little pile of like trash that's there that could be cleaned up. And then everything else looks okay. So, okay, silicone halfway up. I'm guessing again that's I guess it just sits on there like that. That doesn't seem very safe to me. Like it's not very. Maybe, I don't know, these need to be more flush so it sits flatter, but I would definitely look at that too. I just noticed that. But silicone halfway up and not on all full corners. And again, I'm just assuming that they don't think that water will go out that way. But if it were, that would definitely be problematic. But again, it needs to be secured a little bit better here, and then this needs to be siliconed. Okay. Okay, so if you have any questions, let me know. Sorry, I thought this would probably be easier if I did a voice memo because I didn't want to take up too much more time so that I don't have to charge on Mars. So hopefully this works. But again, if you have any questions, just let me know. Okay, thanks. Bye, guys.